Well, hello, I'm Matt Williamson. How you doing? Hope everyone's enjoying the 4th, maybe taking the day off after a long weekend, turned into what, 4-day, 5-day weekend? Sounds like a good plan to me in the middle or early July. Anyway, we're here to talk Steelers, of course. And one-score games. We've touched on this recently, but a big thing, probably won't shock you in the least, that I'll be doing between now and camp really is a lot of homework, a lot of research, a lot of analytical studies. Folks like Football Outsiders that are now FTN, Warren Sharp, they put out these very detailed guides, and I'll be citing them to you guys quite a bit. And when you read all 32 teams, the write-ups on these guys, inevitably you will come across over and over and over, because history has shown one-score games. You know, you'll hear things like, Team X was 7-1 in one-score games. That's 8 points or less, by the way. Team X was 7-1 in one-score games last year. That's bound to revert to the mean. They'll probably be closer to 500. Or they were 1-7 in one-score games. They'll probably get better luck in that department and get closer to 500. The point is, over years or decades of NFL study, one-score games has proven to not be a stable metric. I mean, it's not sticky year to year. Usually, if you're very lucky is the wrong word, fortunate one season, you probably won't be as fortunate the next. You know what I'm saying? You're like, it's hard to go 7-1 in one-score games year after year. You know, so you're likely these teams, Vegas, these prognosticators will look at things like, man, they've really got bounces went their way in one-score games last year. Probably inflated their win total a little. Okay, and that is borne out to be true over and over and over. You know, that being said, I've said outside of that, I very much believe that there are coaches and quarterbacks in particular, but we'll just call it teams, that are better at winning one-score games than others. I mean, like anything, there's an art to it. There's a skill to it. I mean, and Mike Tomlin's one of the best. So I came up with these numbers, and how about this? So in one-score games that are inevitably finished with an 8-point lead or less by the victor, Mike Tomlin has guided Pittsburgh to a 98-61-2 record in regular season games decided by one score, 8 points or less. Tomlin's 98 regular season wins in games decided by one score are tied for the 5th most in the league since 1970, the AFL-NFL merger. Now, here we go. Since the merger, 1970, even before my old body was born, Bill Belichick has won 120 one-score games. That's obscene, by the way. I mean, that is crazy. And a lot of it on the back of his defense, you know, pre-Brady being a superstar, but Brady sure helps. Andy Reid's next at 110. Mahomes has sure helped, but a lot of them with the Eagles too, you know, with Bobby Hoying and Kevin Cobb and even McNabb for a while, but he didn't, other than McNabb, he was short on quarterbacks. Alex Smith the year with Kansas City. I mean, those are two Mount Rushmore type coaches. Another Mount Rushmore type coach, Don Shula, has 106 wins. Dan Reeves, an underrated guy, 105. And then it's Tomlin and Marty Schottenheimer tied with 98, tied for 5th. Most wins in a one-score game. Pretty impressive. Now, coaching a long time helps, of course. However, how about win percentages? If you've coached at minimum of 100 games, who has the best win percentage in one-score games? And these aren't going to be 80%. But, you know, usually you revert back to the mean to 50%. So Bud Grant is at 5.96, 59.6%. Schottenheimer's at 59.7%. Don Shula has won 61.2% of those games, 106 and 67. Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin are tied for the best win percentage. Not Belichick, not Reed. They've been in a lot, but they do not have the best win percentage. Tomlin and Dungy have won 61.5% of one-score games. Massive numbers. What if we just looked at it since 2007, when Tomlin was hired, right? Mike McCarthy has 66 wins, one-score games, of course. Belichick has 69, really impressive. Harbaugh, 71, super impressive. Andy Reid, 78 since 2007. Big number. Mike Tomlin, 98. 98 wins since 2007 in one-score games. By far the most in that stretch. By far. He's coached one more year than Harbaugh, and he has 27 more one-score wins. If we also just look at those winning percentages, of course, Tomlin's on top at 615. Belichick's at 58%. McCarthy's at 56%. Sean Payton's at 54%. And Andy Reid's at 53%. Say what you want. Shouldn't be in these one-score games. Part of it is, Steelers just always play defense first, and they want to be in one-score games. Since 2007, folks, I mean, there's an art to winning one-score games, and the history of the league shows it's hard to do, and it usually is a flip of the coin. Not here. All right, so BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from baseball, golf, and so many more. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the team's latest matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. I thought that was really interesting. I've done a lot of Tomlin historical stuff lately, most of which is pretty impressive to me. Matthias had a question that came in after I recorded the mailbag show that I wanted to dig into. So he asked, I guess it's maybe she, my apologies. From what you've seen at Michigan and early on with the Steelers, how does Roman Wilson compare to rookie Juju? Can he be the 2 right away, which might really be the 3 or 4, considering it should go Pickens, Muth, Wilson / running backs for checkdowns and shallow crosses? Juju 8 on those shallow crosses as a rookie. I thought this was interesting. The short answer, well, first off, I'm excited about Wilson, but the short answer is to call him the 2 right away, the way Juju did, I think is a stretch. But let's compare the players, the usage, etc. So, first off, physically, Juju's a bigger man. He plays stronger. He's going to be more physical, although Wilson is not bashful at all. That makes it sound like he's a dainty little flower. He's not at all. He's just not as big or strong as Juju. I mean, he's not as thickly built. I bet he doesn't bench as much. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not as powerful of a man. But I think he's much more explosive. I think he comes out of his breaks much crisper, much sharper. I think his burst is much better. If him and Juju, rookie year Juju, race in pads and cleats or at the combine, Wilson blows his doors off. I mean, he's faster, changes directions better. Now, both of them have an issue that are similar, and that's why I wanted to talk about this, is both are much better against zone than man. And Michigan did a good job of this, and I think the Steelers will do a better job of it than they have in the past. A lot of Wilson's, quote, man reps last year were with him doing some sort of motion beforehand. It wasn't him standing at the line of scrimmage as a prototypical X in Ohio State's corners, banging them in press man coverage. That's what I'm going to watch the most in camp. And I bet the Steelers test him like crazy. Tomlin set that up at the Senior Bowl with Mitchell from Toledo. I would bet everything I have that Wilson's first practice rep at camp will have Porter in his face, length, man coverage, bang, you know, kind of like Artie Burns got thrown into the AB Wolf, you know, when he was a rookie. So he's going to need to prove to be able to handle that. I think both, as a result, are much better out of the slot. I'm talking about rookie year Juju, not this version. But I do like the idea of shallow crosses, stuff over the middle, run after catch for Wilson, some of the same Juju usage. Both, I think, are, Juju certainly was a plus blocker at the NFL level. I think Wilson will be as well, but I don't think he's going to be quite the Allen Robinson physical force or the Juju physical force blocking. But I could see a lot of motion where he starts outside and comes inside into the slot as either a blocker or a shallow cross type guy. But I thought that was an interesting comparison because, also that being said, with all respect to Pickens, he ain't AB. Yeah, I mean, AB was the best force of nature receiver in the league at this time, right there with Julio Jones. Those two were all-time greats and demanded a lot more attention. And plus you also had like Martavis Bryant and guys like that. I mean, like this team would kill for Martavis Bryant right now. So I see what you're saying, Matthias. And I think there is some overlap, but in a way I'm more excited about Wilson, although Juju was pretty darn productive. This is rough to say, but if you would go back and listen to my podcast when Juju was a rookie, I thought he was a little overrated then because I don't think he was super explosive. I think he still has always struggled against man. And then he hits the open market and didn't get a big contract as people expected because the league knew these things. You know, the Steelers didn't make him one of the highest paid receivers in the league. So in some ways, I'm more excited about Wilson, what he could become because of his movement, explosion, speed. I think his ceiling is probably higher. But Juju was pretty impressive, and they used him well, and a lot of physicality and size and thickness and strength, too. So, all right, I thought that was worth talking about. Take care. Over and out.